my sister first said, she announced that she was an emotional eater. She had a weight problem as well. I thought, well, that's crazy. Like, I don't eat over my emotions. I just like food.
Right.
But sure enough, the seed was planted. And, by age 21, it was very clear to me that my relationship with food was different than other people's. I'd go out to lunch with friends and they'd order a sandwich and fries, and they'd eat their sandwich and pick up their fries, but I always ate my fries and picked up my sandwich. Like, how could anybody really leave fries on their plate? Like, that made no sense to me whatsoever. Or they'd stop halfway through a hot fudge sundae and say, oh, I'm full. And I think, what does full have to do with it? So definitely an obsession for me. And I was compelled to eat. And what happened is that I was really knocking myself out trying to find a solution. So I read self-help books. I definitely did all the exercise programs, pills, potions, lotions, and I even went to 12-step programs for eating. I went to an eating disorders therapist. So I was really good, giving it a good effort. But everything I tried, it would work for a time, but ultimately it would give out and I would give out and I'd end up binging. So, I could lose weight, and I actually had about 5 different sizes of pants in my closet to prove it, so I would go down the scale, but then something would happen, some kind of stress, and I'd go right back up the scale again. And so I never knew what size I was going to be. I was really a yo-yo dieter. And I just got to the point of real despair because I tried so many things and nothing really worked long-term for me. Erin, I got to the point in my life where I felt so much despair, and I thought, I can't spend the rest of my life doing this. Like, I cannot be going up and down the scale like this. There's got to be something, because otherwise, I felt really doomed. It was really at that point when I had that kind of clarity that this was my plight and nothing was working. And I guess it was that moment of desperation where I was introduced to somebody who showed me how, like, a clear path out of the emotional eating. So really addressing and healing the underlying causes. And I went on this journey of exploration and healing that completely eradicated, my weight problem where I was no longer 50 pounds overweight. It changed my whole life. I had to change my whole life, and this mentor would say, Tricia, you don't have an eating problem, you have a living problem. And that's what I started to heal, is my living problem, because food was my go-to for all living problems. Like I would have stress and I would stress eat, to cover up the pain. So when I was really hopeless and couldn't lose the weight no matter what I tried, that's when I really started to see that I have to go deeper and deal with the underlying stuff. And that process of going deeper definitely included looking at trauma. It's such a defining thing, like the sexual abuse I experienced was no question, defining moment in my life. And I made a lot of decisions about life during that experience, like I can't trust anybody, I got to do it all myself, and I got to have protection, and that's what food and weight, so much of it is this subconscious way of feeling like we can protect ourselves. I was not able to protect myself in life. And the more effort I put into, believing these things that nobody was trustworthy and I'm an island and all those things, the worse I got. The trauma had its impact, but then the decisions I made based on that had to be unraveled as well and reassessed. So, my experience is it's never just one thing that causes emotional eating. It wasn't just the trauma. It wasn't just the sexual abuse. It was, again, so many different decisions I made about how to live that served me. Like, they served me at one time. But then when I bring those personality traits that were coping skills at one time, when I bring them into my adult life and I'm still using them, they no longer serve me and they end up backfiring on me. And I know we will get into that today because, definitely, unpacking that is going to be really the solution to overcoming emotional eating. But for me, it's like, you don't just do a deep dive into your deepest issues. Like, it's really scary. When I spent my lifetime avoiding the real issues, you don't just say, you don't wake up one day and go, let's deal with our shit,
Right.
It's like, no. Like, that's a scary prospect. really about getting to a place of feeling safe, layering on safety mechanisms, support systems, community, getting a spiritual life that would support me and feeling okay no matter what things I discovered about myself. So it's sort of like you build this tapestry of support that can enable you to take that journey deeper. So you don't do it just in one step.
And just to rewind too, at what age did that happen at? For the sexual abuse, when did all that start happening?
From age 5 to 10. So it was about 5 years, and it was from a relative. What I brought from that was that feeling of shame, body shame, feeling like I was bad to the core. So I had a lot of, of course, mixed ideas about my sexuality from that. There's a lot there that I've had to, go through and dig through and heal from, which I have. I'm so grateful. There's so many mixed messages you get from that experience.